Graphics card stock levels are increasing, prices are falling, and this time it might just be for real. Is this really the start of the end of the GPU crisis? Yes. And in this video, I'm going to explain why, and how it could be much easier in the next few weeks, not months, to pick yourself up a GPU at a reasonable price point. Let's do this. Over the last few weeks, I've been cranking my research levels up to the max, and speaking to people in the industry who work very closely with GPU stock and the wider PC hardware market. Now obviously we're a UK based channel, so not only have we been speaking to people globally, but here in the UK. And the UK market tends to be ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to showing GPU availability, at least compared to the US and Canada. Here in the UK, prices have been falling for the last few weeks, and we've hit a point where GPUs have just started to come in stock. We first saw this with the 6500 XT, a card that if you go online here, you can find for less than £200 or $220 with sales tax, and there's loads of units in stock across a wide range of retailers. Now we all know how the 6500 XT went down, and part of the reason the damn card is in stock is because it's crap. To put it frankly, no one wants one of these, and I don't blame them. It's a GPU that AMD have basically rehashed from about 4 years ago and expected gamers to rejoice because you can buy it for $200, but that's simply not particularly worked out. But what we are seeing right now with the brand new 3050, a card we've covered quite a lot, is stock levels of this card maintaining constant and the price actively falling. Take a look at this listing over on eBuy.com, a UK based prominent sales outlet. They've got a 3050 Asus dual card, so not even the basic bare bones unit, for $349, and a Zotac card with 2 fans for $329. I expect these prices to continue to fall across the UK, and this can be seen with other retailers too. But just why are the finally stocks of GPUs starting to form? Well, obviously we're starting to get over some of the barriers with silicon shortages and the shortages of other components like substrates for graphics cards. And the recent conflict in Russia, a country which was absorbing a huge amount of GPU supply. I've heard from some sources that mining in Russia, specifically led by GPUs, was happening to an extent none of us really realised, have allowed the market to become just a little bit more loose. There's a bit more room, a bit more wiggling going on, and that's something I think we're seeing specifically here in the UK. One of the really massive global impacts though when it comes to GPU stock is pre-built PCs. One of the only ways to get hands on with the latest GPU over the last 12 or 18 months has been buying a pre-built system. We've covered a wide range of them on the channel and done videos where we've compared the latest deals from NZXT, Origin PC, Iberpower and AlphaSync here in the UK. And GPU makers like Nvidia, but specifically AMD, more on that one in a second, have obviously favoured these system builders because it means gamers can better get their hands on a GPU. It discourages miners and scalpers from scooping up the cards alone, as they have to end up buying a whole system, something they just don't want to do. What this has done is push people like you and me, who would rather build a PC, to go and buy one pre-built. And while there's been some great value there, you just don't get that same adrenaline rush that you do when you build your own system, you hit the power button, and you can celebrate, enjoy, because your work has paid off. But there's a bit of a ceiling that's being hit there. As people start to see the GPU market coming back, they're more hesitant to buy a pre-built system. And what that means is pre-built system buyers have less need for GPUs compared to what they did 6 or 12 months ago. Often a retailer like Newegg or Overclockers here in the UK will have its retail division where it sells individual components like GPUs, CPUs, memory and SSDs. And then it will have a system builder department where they build their own PCs in-house. And if they're just not selling enough systems to shift their GPUs, they suddenly become available for individual purchase. Something we've seen happening with the 3050 and 6500 XT. When I first spoke to Asus about covering their 3050 launch, they informed me that there were more cards available for this launch than any before it. And I thought, yeah, sure there is. Haven't we heard that line before? And believe it or not, that actually was, showing that these lower-end GPUs have become more and more affordable. What's more, this shift in GPU supply is actually being seen in the stock market, often a good indication when it comes to graphics cards. Now, James, what on earth has the stock market got to do with GPUs? Well, obviously, mining is helping the bottom line of companies like Nvidia and AMD. That's not a criticism. Obviously, they put GPUs into the market, and whoever chooses to buy them can go ahead and pick them up. But with mining inflating the prices so much, and not a great deal of change to the cost price, the amount of money it takes to manufacture a GPU, GPU, the margin, or the amount of profit left over in the cards, has been climbing and climbing, and it's been inflated like a massive balloon by these GPU miners who are prepared to pay double or triple for a GPU because they know they can make the money back. With that not being the case anymore, following a number of mining crashes and global crackdowns from countries like China on GPU mining, there's simply less demand from those people, meaning ultimately prices are going to have to drop to attract gamers, the margin is going to shrink with less demand and less competition from people looking to buy GPUs, which ultimately affects the bottom lines of these companies, who are now making less money from a pallet of 5,000 GPUs than they were 6 or 12 months ago. Hence, something like Nvidia have seen a bit of a stock slump as of late. And although the stock has seen huge growth, this is not some sort of financial advice, it does show that the sentiment is changing just a little bit. And as if that wasn't enough, AMD bringing out new cards, Nvidia bringing out new cards with more stock, there's a new player in the market. Intel have entered like a big double-decker bus, smashing through a massive brick wall, and they're of course going to be launching Intel Arc. And boy oh boy, are the rumours hotting up just a little bit. Now the Intel Arc range of GPUs have been delayed fairly significantly. I heard initial rumours last year they were supposed to land in May of 2021, and that, well, never happened, did it? But actually now it looks like we're getting very close. Intel have been slowly but steadily building out the GPU side of their business. And one of the reasons I'm reliably informed it's taken so long is because they don't want to be in a situation where they're seen with the pants down. AKA they launch a new card, a new range of GPUs that simply no one can buy. And I guess that brings me on to the positives. This whole situation, this whole drama with GPUs has seen the likes of AMD and Nvidia look in the mirror and go, you know what, we really don't want this happening again. AMD, for example, have made a few acquisitions across the supply chain, giving them more control over all the components needed and the raw materials needed to build a GPU, making them less reliant on other players all delivering at once for just-in-time supply chains, or bigger picture stock releases. But the positive news doesn't end there. Ethereum is set to change within about 8 to 12 weeks' time to a new fundamental way of running the currency. The two systems, proof of stake and proof of state, differ drastically. One, the present system, relies on GPU mining to validate transactions and discover new coins. The other phases it out pretty much entirely. That's right, within 8 to 12 weeks, GPUs on Ethereum will become about 99.9% less important and less powerful than they are right now, allowing only major established players to validate transactions, and not nearly to the degree that they are right now. This comes off the back of environmental concerns, and currencies looking to become more sustainable, to increase their integrity and longevity in a market that's seen crypto crashes pretty recently lately. Remember Bitcoin from those few years ago? People don't mind that on GPUs anymore. They need specialist, high-power ASIC miners, something that help prevent the last GPU shortage from getting any worse. But there are a few spanners that could be thrown into the works. A large international event, much like the one going on that we shouldn't talk about too much, could have a lasting impact. And if Nvidia decide to bring out RTX 4000 series, we could be in a world of pain once again. But remember, with less and less demand for GPUs, while a new launch for me right now wouldn't be the best thing to happen, we shouldn't see a repeat of 30 series when it comes to stock and availability. And while cards may be tricky to get hold of at launch, that should correct itself within 4 or 5 weeks, rather than 18 or 19 months. I think we have to look at 30 series as a bit of a hiatus for many gamers. It's a card that so many people would have loved to buy that they've never really been able to consider. And with AMD's resurgence, I don't want to say short-lived, because I think they're absolutely on the right path. But with their resurgence temporarily interrupted, with a card that no one should really buy, things are at least heading in the right direction. And as competition from buyers reduces to get a hold of GPUs, competition from GPU manufacturers and board partners like Asus, GeekaWhat, MSI, Zotac, Palette, Inno3D, XFX, that competition will hot up. And those businesses will once again be inclined to compete for your business rather than the other way round. Things are finally headed in the right direction, and I could not be happier. Stick with it, because we're only a few months, if not a few weeks away from a much better market than the one we've had to live with for the last 18 months. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.